So I'm sorry I wasn't there, but it was, I'm glad you had fun. Okay, so here we go. This is Haukke Manor hard mode. We are healing it with the White Mage. Now, in the previous Paladin video, or Paladin segment, I was going over a lot of the skills and just sort of explaining them probably pretty badly. But this tank is going to be speedrunning a little bit as well, so it's going to be a little bit harder for us to actually do that. But I'll try my best. So when the tank is speedrunning, you want to really have a major focus on healing them early, because they're going to be doing big pulls. So usually I throw a regen on them, and then I move around and just start putting arrow on all the enemies, while keeping an eye on the tank's health and making sure that I actually have time to do that. And if I still have time, like now, like he's not taking much damage at all, then I can just continue DPSing. So I got my main heal skills, which is Cure, Cure 2, and Cure 3. I mainly use Cure, to be honest. I don't really use Cure 2 a lot, but when you get a free Cure proc, then it can be worth it. Well, it definitely is worth it. And you only get the free Cure proc by casting Cure, and maybe other healing spells. I'm actually not too sure, but we have the free Cure here, so we can actually just use Cure 2. It doesn't take any mana, and it heals more as well. And then Cure 3 is basically... I've actually never found a use for it. Sakura in chat saying that as well. Never use Cure 3. It uses too much mana. So again, we're just dotting everybody. We don't need to dot her. We can actually just stone to her until she's dead. And the whole time we're just focusing on the tank's health and making sure we're okay. Top him up, throw in a regen, and then go back to DPS. I do have other skills that can help. Like Eye for an Eye is basically just a barrier on the tank. And it can lower the damage that lower the damage of whoever is striking the barrier. So you can put that on for extra mitigation. But I don't... Oh yeah, so I don't use it that much because I am bad. Okay, so lots of incoming damage here. But even then, this tank is very tanky, not taking a lot of damage. So I'm happy about that. But we're going to be careful here. Sakura is also bringing up Medica and Medica 2, which are two very important abilities for the White Mage. Medica 2, I think, is less potent. It's got 200 potency, and yeah, Medica 1 or Medica normal has 300 potency, so it heals for more. Or Medica 2 heals for less, but it adds on a slight regen effect, which is really good for when your DPS gets hit, just sort of spontaneously, and you know that they're not really going to be taking any further damage. You can just throw out a Medica 2, and it will get everybody regenning, which is good, but not necessary in these dungeons very often. I find I use it a lot more often in trials or big boss fights. I got slowed here, so I'm going to use Asuna. One change that they made to the game somewhat recently is the debuffs that can be Asuna'd now have a little like bright bar on the top of them, so it's just a lot easier to see if a certain thing is possible to Asuna, because some of them are not possible. So the tank's taking a bit of damage here, but whatever, it's fine. So one thing happened in the previous pull here where the tank pulled the pulled a group of mobs, and then they all came on me instantly, and that was because I had regen on the tank. So that's something you kind of want to keep in mind. You don't want to put regen on the tank before a fight starts. I mean, you can, but it makes it harder on the tank to actually get keep aggro early on, because if he's doing something like this, trying to keep aggro, and then everything decides to attack me instead, it could cause problems. So here we're going to do Medica 2 because everyone has a little bit of damage, so we're just going to heal everybody. Our machinist is getting hit fairly often here, so I'm going to top him up, and I'm going to give him an extra cure, or extra regen, and we're back on the tank now. Gonna be using Cure 2 because we have the free Cure. And you know what? He's taking extra damage, so I can put Eye for an Eye on him as well. Just to add a little bit of extra mitigation. Make it easier. Didn't really have a lot of opportunity to DPS there, but that's going to be the breaks every once in a while. Oh yeah, Stacker, I'll point it out again here just next time it happens so you get a good look at it. It's really, really good because it's a simple thing, and excuse me, what is it, like 80% of debuffs you can actually use Asuna on, but there are some that you can't. And it can be frustrating to waste a cooldown on something that you thought you could Asuna, but you can't. So next time it comes up, I'll show you a little closer. Just gonna keep using Stone 2. One thing I actually am forgetting about is Holy. Holy is like one of the coolest spells in the entire game, in my opinion. It's just a gigantic AoE blast that also stuns the enemies. Any enemies that can be stunned, anyway. So I don't think it really works on bosses, but it still does a ton of damage. So any AoE moment that you can do DPS, you're going to want to be using Holy. And it does a lot of damage. But it uses a lot of mana as well, so you kind of got to be a little careful, because if you're going to be in a really long fight, then spamming lots of Holy could get you in trouble, but usually it's okay. Alright, we're going to move out of this. I don't really remember any of the bosses from this at all, but we're going to just use our basic fundamentals. We're going to get behind the boss instead of in front of it. And we can see everyone, you know, is taking a little bit of damage. I'm just going to throw out a Medica too. Just for a little bit of extra, you know, buff on the healing. Holy's your favorite spell? Yeah, it's awesome. I'll try to remember to use it. But this boss is dying incredibly quickly. We got an ad now, so we'll just... I mean, I don't even think we have to worry about the ad, but it's dying very fast as well. And we're done. Easy. So what other skills have I not talked about yet? We do, just like the Paladin, we do have a couple cooldowns that we can use in specific situations. In this dungeon, it doesn't seem like I'm going to need them very often because we have a very competent tank and a somewhat competent healer. So we're going to be okay. We're probably not going to need them. But the first one is Presence of Mind, which is actually, I believe it's a roll skill. Let me just check this real quick. It is not a roll skill. Okay, we're going to talk about roll skills separately because we're going to have a gigantic amount of damage coming in here. I'm going to sprint so I can keep up with them. I'm going to get the healing going. I'm going to watch for that Cure 2 proc. But see how he's using all these defensive abilities here? Like, he knows what's coming. So he's preparing himself perfectly for all the incoming damage. So we can focus a lot more on DPS in a bit. But he is still taking a significant amount of damage. So I'm going to throw that Eye for an Eye on him as well. Then I'm going to come and start using Holy. And it's a little late for that because everything's already dead. Boom. I like to think that I did all that damage, but unfortunately not this time. Maybe I can get one Holy out of here. So yeah, forgive me, but I'm not I'm not as in tune with the White Mage as I am with the Paladin. So some of these skills are roll skills and some of them aren't, and I don't quite remember exactly which is which. But Presence of Mind, I think we just confirmed, is an actual White Mage spell. But what it does is it basically increases your cast time so that you can cast heal more often, right? So essentially, if the tank is really getting beat up and you feel like you're falling behind, then you use Presence of Mind to give yourself a bit of a healing boost by increasing your cast time. I think it affects the on offense as well. So if I go Presence of Mind and then move into Stone, it does appear to be helping with that. Yeah, it is. It's definitely helping because it's only 2-second cast time, where I think normally it's like longer than that. Yeah, 2.5 seconds. Okay, so yeah, it does help with offense as well. Oh, literally just, I didn't even notice, but in chat, Sakura mentioned that she uses Presence of Mind for Stone specifically for DPS. So it's a good offensive buff as well. So perhaps I should be using it more often. Like, essentially on cooldown. Okay. Let's pay attention to what's going on here. So I see my team is a little bit hurt. We're not going to be able to get that off. In fact, that's going to hit us. Oh, shit. Okay. So what's our plan here? We're going to give ourselves regen as soon as we can, and then we're going to fix the tank up. Okay, regen on us. We're going to fix up the tank. Get him up there. We're going to fix up our machinist as well. Do not want to get hit by terror. When you're the healer, it's bad. I think we're all right. Jeez, that hurts. I'm gonna use the big cooldown on me here, Benediction. It's basically a full health heal that you can use. It's like the biggest oh shit moment thing that you have. What are we doing here? There we go. And just like that, we finished it all of a sudden. Definitely commendating the tank here. He played very well. And there's still some abilities that I didn't even have time to go over. So yeah, Presence of Mind, you use it when you want a speed boost. Probably should use it more often than I do. Lucid Dreaming is a role skill, and essentially you use it to get your mana back. It gives you mana regen, or it's called refresh in this case, and it also reduces enmity. So if you're getting hit, you can use it, and also if you're running out of mana. If you're about half mana, and you know the fight's going to go on for a while longer, you use Lucid Dreaming. And then Swift Cast, you just use, you can use it for Holy, which is really fun if you know you're never going to need to use it with Res. It's also on a pretty short cooldown as well, only 1 minute. So you can use it to speed out some extra heals, some extra damage. It's really good with Holy, for example. Like when you can just do this. It feels pretty good. But essentially, you use it when you need to raise somebody in combat. You Swift Cast, raise, you raise them, and you can go about your day. There's a few other abilities here, but we'll talk about them more as we use them, including Benediction, which is the big 3-minute cooldown, but it heals you to full health. And yeah, I mean, I do actually think we talked about most of them. There's Protect as well, and some other ones that come later on. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for the White Mage, and we will see you next time for the DPS.